We rolling on that one?
We're rolling now. Sorry. Sorry.
Shama was smoking outside.
I like to take a smoke break between episodes.
Shama was like, "Oh, I got to get a cig in."
Yeah. He was smoking corn silk wrapped in toilet paper.
Yeah.
Bring that mic a little closer to you.
Alrighty.
And then, hey, this is the show.
Play the intro.
I had to look for the button like it's my first time.
Program podcast. What key are we in, G?
Can you go on the Instagram page and post what key are we in, and then just see all the comments? It'll be like G G G G G.
See that part there makes me feel like reflecting a little.
Yeah.
A little ditty tune.
Yeah.
Hey, it just
So improvised by me and my dad.
Maybe question my life and that sort of thing.
It starts on this very thought-provoking note, and then it's just downhill. But hey, this is Church Stories. Welcome to the show. My name is Shama, and my wife and I upgraded to a king-size bed because sometimes our son sleeps with us, and he likes to lay horizontally, and he kicks my wife and headbutts me. So that's the newest upgrade that we've made.
Nice.
to our lives.
My name is PD, and I started running again.
God bless.
Yeah.
Bold man.
That first post-quarantine run was not fun. Not at all.
Were there other people out there, or was it just you?
Oh, I wait until it's like at least 10
p.m.?
Yeah.
Okay, 10 p.m.?
Then there's no one.
It's pretty dark, though.
I can see.
Isn't the trail isn't it like
It's right
illegal
next to my
or whatever?
house.
Yeah,
I don't ever run into anybody, so who's going to arrest me?
What is illegal anyway?
Yeah. That's the question for today.
Yeah. Guys, the guest on our show today is PD, are you gonna help me?
Yeah, sure.
The guest on our show today,
He was on the guest list from the beginning of this show.
From the beginning, from season 1. I don't know what happened. Maybe it took 2 seasons for him or for us to get it together, but he was on youth staff when I was a youth pastor before I was fired.
Well, the stars have aligned, and we're here together today.
We are here together with the one, the only, longtime friend.
I thought we were going to say it together.
Sorry.
My bad.
We're here with Ken Hagerman. you can tell this is a very season 3 bit.
Exactly.
Yes.
I can't wait for this to get posted so I can copy that and use it for my ringtone.
Ken Hagerman.
I don't know. Have I used this bit before? But like we're gonna reach that level like on Full House where they have to start adding characters because it's getting old.
Maybe.
We need to bring like a baby in.
We're gonna have to bring in like a set of twins. Wait, what? They're not even y'all's twins. They're like, yeah, sorry.
Well, listen, it's Church Stories. Why don't you just pull out some of those hand puppets? I'm sure somewhere in this building there's a box full.
But there is a box full of puppets, and they've got the metal rods or whatever to make them, praise the Lord with their hands.
Yeah, I remember my parents donating probably a somewhat significant amount of money to a church's puppet ministry that did not ever end up getting used.
What qualifies as a ministry, and can we
puppet ministry?
Can we start what?
No, it was make the kids shut up for 10 minutes, but they don't shut up. As soon as they see the puppets, they go crazy.
And then as soon as they see the puppets, and as soon as they don't see the 2 adults who are in among them, and they're like, wait a second. Where'd Shama go?
I've seen some of the best comedians in the world live, but I've never seen anybody kill harder than Tim Bachman with puppets at kids' church.
Tim Bachman, your uncle, of course.
Yes.
We gotta, dude. That's what the next time we have Tim on, we need to let him have a puppet.
Oh yeah, there we
go. Ken, welcome to the show.
It's my pleasure.
Hey, this is long time coming.
Yeah, and apparently he listens because he knew about my girlfriend calling from the bathroom.
One of my favorite segments so far.
Yeah.
Random bathroom calls has to be added to the show list.
And it was the second one, too.
We'll I don't know how we'll be able to orchestrate that organically. Maybe we'll just send a mass email to a list and be like, hey, we're recording if anybody's in a bathroom and wants to call.
No video, please.
Yeah.
It could be in your house too.
Ken, we've known you for a long time, and you are not only just like a guest that we've wanted on the show for a long time, but also just like a guy that I respect a lot. And
we know you have to have some pretty crazy church
you got
stories.
some crazy church stories.
Well, that's
We'll get to
incredibly complimentary to me. I appreciate it. I've wanted to be on the show because I just enjoy listening to you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Not only on the show, but just in person in general.
Yeah.
We always have a good time.
Then you and I, we had lunch last week, and then the other day I was like, hey, would you like to help me move a king-size mattress in your truck?
And I was thinking, I really want to move a mattress today, but I'm not sure who's buying.
Yeah.
You were just at your house pacing, just
Right.
lost, rubbing your hands, thinking, like, man, if only. And here I was, and I was like, hey,
There
what are
you
you doing?
go. You might have saved me from self-medicating in some way.
Yeah.
You're the friend with a truck.
Right, exactly.
Which that's we all need at least one.
You know what they say? Got to have one friend with a truck.
That's what they say.
Right.
That's what they say. Yeah, Ken. Okay, we didn't in our introduction. You have been in ministry for a bit, and
Sure.
you were also a missionary to Paraguay.
Yeah.
You're back in the States now.
Right.
So yeah, first and foremost, what were you gonna say?
We referred to your family as the Paraguays
The
for a while, which sounds insensitive
Yeah.
now.
At this moment, I have to say, we have been called worse, so we'll respond to that happily and heartily.
Yeah. Well, awesome. We know that your son-in-law Brian is a big fan of the show. So
Yeah.
just a
Shout out to
Brian.
yeah.
Brian.
Yeah, thanks for
Just,
listening, Brian.
just because I'm here, we're shouting out to Brian. Today is Brian's birthday.
Gosh,
What a
we got like
coincidence.
a happy birthday
Hey,
button.
just play Celebration.
Yeah. This is for you, Brian.
Yeah. Listeners, pour one out for Brian Santana.
He's also working his first shift tonight.
Oh, he is? Really?
He is.
This is a great time to start that.
But yeah, I will say that I've laughed the hardest ever being at your house, Ken. I think about.
I hope that's a compliment.
No, hey, that's a huge compliment. As a person who I seek out laughter like a drug, man. I'll listen sometimes if I'm in a bad mood. I'll listen to like a comedy album. Like, come on, I need to laugh. Come on, I want to cry tears laughing. But there are a few people who, when I think of them, I think of just a bunch of there are friends where you go to a place and you do so many things. But it's some of it is memorable. But when I think of you, I'm always like, man, there's times where you're just grilling out in your house in Dacusville and you're just spitting fire, and I am like hunched over laughing all the time, just like your takes on church and ministry and life and etc. So,
Yeah, well, it's a philosophy. A lot of that stuff, you guys know, you either laugh or you cry. I'd rather laugh. I'd rather laugh.
Yeah.
And so I've tried to take that approach to a lot of things. I hope at the end of my life, my family and friends, that's one thing they'll know, that I did laugh. I tried to have some fun and enjoy some of those things, or make the best of some things that weren't so great.
Yeah.
I feel
And,
bad for people who are like, you just need to laugh once a day. Just try to laugh once a day. I'm like, yeah, if you're depressed.
Yeah. I mean, if you're
man.
saying that, laugh once a day,
Yeah.
that's a low mark to hit.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
Yeah. Oh man. But man, it's been good. Thanks.
I mean, every morning you wake up, you look in the mirror, you start laughing. I'm still here.
Yeah, dude,
All right, well, let's see what's going on next.
when I bought that coffee I was talking about in the last episode, the guy
The gas
beside me,
station
yeah, the guy,
the 7-Eleven guy?
there's a guy beside me buying something, and the woman asked, "How are you?" He said, "I'm alive." I was like, "That's a great answer."
Yes, sir. Knocking me out of the park today.
But there's a segment that I feel like would be perfect for Ken. We haven't. This is on the fly.
Wait a
would you
second.
be interested in rebuking some stuff?
I can make an attempt at it.
Okay. Well, you're familiar with the segment. What would you like to rebuke? We'll set it up, and then you'll go into pastor mode.
Okay.
Well, do you need a second? Like, should we start with something? What's been annoying you lately, Shama?
Okay, I got something. I rebuke people who talk on civil rights like they're the next Martin Luther King Jr. on social media. I rebuke it. I rebuke long posts that I don't read because I know are too long and I'd much rather read a book. I rebuke it.
I mean, if we're just doing social media, we could probably go all day.
Yeah,
Right,
that's what I want to do, really. They didn't respect MLKJ. They're not going to respect...
Yeah, you didn't respect him just now. MLKJ.
Yeah, that is right. MLKJR, right? Is
MLKJ. Nobody says that.
Nobody says that? Hey, could more people start saying that to prove PD wrong? Join me. Yeah, PD, do you have anything you want to rebuke?
Coronavirus? Is that...
You're not alone.
Play Kenneth.
Okay.
He'll do it for me.
Hold on. Crap, I'm sorry.
I demand!
I like that, just dropping the...
COVID-19!
That's, that's always relevant. That's going to be relevant when we're not talking about coronavirus.
Yeah.
This can still be relevant. Ken, what are you rebuking?
I don't know, guys. I'll tell you, I think I might be rebuking that foul demon of limited unemployment checks. I may rebuke that demon of a one-time stimulus check from the government.
Here's $1,200. All your problems are gone.
I'm going to rebuke those problems that hung around after my $1,200, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's so funny. Oh, that's good, man. That's good.
I'm going to rebuke the long lines at fast food joints that won't let you inside right now.
Yes.
I'd like to rebuke everyone wearing a mask.
I want to rebuke... Where was I? TJ Maxx? No. Some clothing store. I don't know. I was with Lauren.
Now that you're dating Lauren, you get out more.
Yeah. Definitely. But, so, one woman left, and they let both of us in. I was like, this is a flawed system. I don't...
Right.
Well, they have like a quota of how many people they can let into the store.
Right.
Maybe.
Well, if they weren't letting us in because it was at full capacity and they
okay.
let one woman out, then they should have made us choose between who got to go
I wonder
in.
if it's people as much as it is just groups of people, and y'all were together, and they're like, well, they both can't not be carriers. I don't know.
But if they let you in and you have to just sit over in the man chair in the corner until
with other old guys,
right, until your girl gets in.
Oh man, there's
so what's the protocol on that? If you're outside, and I mean I understand there's a concept of lines.
Yes.
Whoever's there first, but you get there at the same time, kind of like a four-way stop.
Mm-hmm.
Is that rock paper scissors? Whoever wins that gets to go in and shop.
If you got change on you, it's a coin flip.
There's that.
And then if you don't have that, then it's rock paper scissors.
There's an app. There's got to be like a coin flip app, I think.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Somebody's making mad money off ads on a coin flip app.
I keep finding myself walking the wrong direction on the aisles when I'm in.
Because they got the arrows on the ground.
Exactly.
You're like, what crap.
Never before in my life did I have to care about what direction I was walking on an aisle to pick up some knockoff brand cereal.
Yeah. Hey, that knockoff brand hits just as hard, though.
Yeah.
Am I lying, though? PD?
That's good mythical morning it.
Let's try it out. I will say, usually commercials don't work on me. That's my vice. My vice is commercials not working on me. My vice is bragging that I don't have a vice, and commercials not working on me.
Wait, so if that's your vice, that means you pull up commercials specifically to be like, didn't fall for it.
Not buying it.
I'm not getting that.
No, but I did see a commercial for Cocoa Pebbles the other day, and I was like, wait a minute. Am I going to have to detour on my way home? We were at the furniture store the other day, and on one of their display TVs, I was like, I have not seen a Cocoa Pebbles commercial in a long time.
Yes.
And we might have to make a pit stop.
In honor of the current, Black Lives Matter movement, we're eating Cocoa Pebbles, and we're not eating Fruity Pebbles. We're not.
But it's also Pride Month, so we're going to have to...
You got me there.
Just when you thought you could be inclusive to one group.
Just when I thought I was the wokest.
This is where you should voice over some of the comments that are going to come in.
Yeah.
Look, if you've been listening to the show for this long and you haven't stopped listening yet,
You're
Yeah,
good. You're,
if you've
you're a
chosen
lifer.
now,
Yeah.
what is this? 84 episodes
80 something,
in
right?
Yeah,
What is
yeah.
to
this?
decide to
It
get
was-
offended?
It was like 84.
Now you're getting
It
offended.
was like the first
yeah.
83 didn't do it.
Speaking of 84, shout out to Fred Bachman.
Yeah.
My
Oh.
grandpa, who just turned 84 yesterday.
Yeah, this episode by far has the best segues.
right.
Your granddad did just turn 84.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mr. Freddie B, man. He was on the one about baptism, right?
Yeah, water baptism.
What
I think.
about water baptism?
He specified.
Yeah, and that's been a great episode. And Ken, I didn't tell you this, PD, but Ken put in an application that was approved by management to be the official chaplain of the Church Stories podcast.
All right.
I've spent this week trying to secure my salvation.
Wait, who's management? Andrew?
I don't know. Management is just this fictitious thing
Right.
that just
It's
exists.
an amorphous entity.
And
out
we're like,
there.
Yeah.
I guess they allowed us to. They greenlit season 3, and they greenlit buying all this stuff. So I guess I don't know whoever that is, but yeah. So Ken is officially on staff now. welcome to the madness. We'll just forward all the emails, all the bad emails to you, and be like, hey Ken.
Yeah.
I don't know, pray for us or pray for them. I don't know. What do chaplains do?
Oh, dude, I posted that thing on Deuteronomy. It was it was the post about Jesus saying that blessed are the poor in
Yeah.
spirit, and like blessed are all people. And then Petty, another page, posted that and said, he's like, if this makes you mad, go comment on this post at Deuteronomy.
They did?
Yeah.
Did people come to you?
I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of comments.
Yeah.
I didn't even look at them because I knew it would be a dumpster.
Ken, what are your thoughts on the internet right now?
I'm having a hard time justifying it. If it weren't for shopping at home,
Yeah.
we just discussed that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The pluses of not having to sit through somebody's sales spiel.
Yeah. Hey, I mean,
I want to be able to click more details. That's it. I don't want.
Right.
I don't want a dude with a name tag with a polo shirt explaining details to me.
after Amazon, you got to take the good with the bad. You know?
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
I mean, they are the bad too, but
yeah.
the
Hey, but they
good
put
is
up a
convenience.
Black Lives Matter banner on top of Amazon.
Ah,
So when you shop there, you're like, hey, I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe.
they
Maybe I'm doing my part. I don't know.
they whipped their black employees less than they whipped the white ones in the warehouses.
Ken, Ken, you're a chaplain.
Look,
Ken, welcome to we got a chaplain in real time. Ken, manage the.
let's do another bit that'll get me canceled. I've been saying all week. I've been like,
Welcome
this
to
started
staff, Ken.
at the peddler. I was telling all my coworkers, we gotta go loot an Amazon warehouse because like why loot a local business and ruin their lives? Let's just inconvenience Jeff Bezos. You know?
Oh,
If I
man.
did that, my luck would be all of that crap that shows up on the $5 or less on Amazon.
Yeah.
Click
Yeah,
a bunch
it's
of
like the
stuff made
off-brand
by
Young New or
Asian
whatever.
children.
Yeah.
So like if we did that, then all my Amazon stuff would come broken, and I would just be like, how'd they
Right.
find out?
They'd be like, wait a minute.
I'm
You get a
already on the hit
notification.
list for them. Every time they come to my house, you've been there. It's a
Yeah.
tight driveway.
Yeah.
They pull down into my yard in this giant truck, and then they run over my trees, hit whatever car is parked there. The other
Really?
day, the driver, once she finally got turned around, she had to get out of the truck and pick up the parts that she had knocked off the truck by hitting the tree.
Wow. So they're
She gets out, she bowls your package to your door.
Right.
so
then
you
you're like,
probably cost those people a lot of money for.
I
Do they have
know.
to pay for that?
Is it really that hard to walk the extra 10 feet?
Hey, they're just gonna park on the street and just shoot a 3-pointer to your porch
Yeah,
going
well,
forward.
You
Yeah.
can buy a pen. It comes in a box big enough to put a small child in with
Yeah.
with bubble wrap or air packets in it anyway.
Yeah.
So just throw it.
Yeah, there comes. So I've ordered a bunch of stuff for like this space. I told my wife this, and this is a very like first world problem. And I was like, Grace, I'm tired of opening up boxes. I never thought I'd say this, but I'm like, I gotta do with and I burned boxes in my backyard. Don't judge me, but just because there's just so many boxes, and I'm like, I can't do whatever. Is that
Do
illegal?
you, I don't know, but
Hey, you're the
I
chaplain
just
now.
want to know, do you care about the environment?
Do I need to, chaplain?
Well, I mean, God only gave us one Earth. Isn't that
Yes,
what the
this is
party
true.
line is or whatever on that
One
that
Earth.
subject?
Yeah. Okay, maybe if I get enough emails, maybe I'll stop. But anyways, long story short,
So please,
I got a stuff problem.
DM at Shama 4 reels. 4 letter. I mean, not the letter 4. The number 4, and then reels with a Z.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Hey, listen, it's season 3.
Any gripe you have with anything in the podcast ever, just send it to at Shama 4 reels.
Burning boxes can't possibly be that big a deal.
Okay.
Maybe I'm
Yeah.
wrong too. I went to a youth event. And they had tires on fire.
For the Lord? Was it for the Lord or was it just tires on fire?
I went to a youth event at Shama's house where we had tires on fire.
I wasn't going to mention the location.
You were
Were
there
you
too?
mentioning the same?
I was like, oh, he must have been in a different one. I had that happen too. But
Man, I already look like the person who could care the least about planet Earth.
I'm about full transparency on the Church Stories podcast.
For a second, you know what? That I didn't even think you were talking about my house, and then I was like, "Oh, y'all have both been there."
Well, I was thinking of a separate occasion where you definitely weren't there, but I guess there were multiple occasions at Shama's house where we burned tires.
Okay, listen. This is 2020 Shama, right? I'm a dad.
Yeah, you're not a youth leader anymore, so
yeah.
you can disclose this stuff.
I make scrambled eggs for my wife and son. This is the kind of I've evolved as a person. My house doesn't have a bunch of cardboard cutouts of NASCAR racers.
Yeah.
People change.
Right.
Let's get this kicked off with a church story. We all went to Shama's. Is it a church story? Well, there were people from youth group. It counts. We went and we had some crappy fireworks. Right? It was 4th of July.
Oh no!
And we lit them, and they fell over, and it was too late at that point. We just had to scatter.
So wait a second. I got to preface this by Ken. I bought fireworks at like 11:30 p.m. at a gas station. This is like 30 minutes till the new year.
Yeah.
Like gas stations were like discounting the fireworks because they knew they were about to be, invalid till July 4th.
Right.
So it wasn't, top-notch fireworks. It was really crappy fireworks.
The question is, did the person you buy the fireworks from have all of their fingers?
Yeah.
Because if they had 10 fingers, you knew what you were getting. It was junk.
Yeah.
There's
The
a
best
football
fireworks
player.
come from a guy with at least one missing digit, maybe wearing an eye patch even.
So even if you want to wear, you really, first step in being a fireworks salesman is to lose some fingers. I don't know if that's with a knife or just putting some skin in the game, literally.
There's a football player named Jason Pierre-Paul. I don't know if he still currently plays, but he had to play like the last 2 seasons with a club on his hand.
Because he blew off his hand?
Yeah, he's missing maybe a couple fingers from a fireworks incident, which imagine your employer who's paying you upwards of like $10 million a year hearing about that.
Yeah, this is why when I hear stories like that and then I think about the fireworks incident in my house, I always think that it's a miracle. I got
they were
and through youth ministry without ever having to call 911 or dropping a kid off at the emergency room.
I mean, they were crappy, so it wasn't. I don't think they could injure us, but we did definitely run away when it tipped over.
I mean, so it's like the like the 6-8 can or whatever. It's supposed to shoot straight out.
Yeah.
We set them off and it tipped. I guess maybe somebody kicked it while they were running.
So it shot in the direction that it was designed to, but not the one we wanted it to.
But the thing was, so I remember like we were all yelling like, "Take cover, duck!"
And the story gets better.
Oh man, and one of them. So we're watching them. You know how fireworks when they go up. If you're listening and not watching, you're not going to get this. They go. Like they squiggle up. They're like. Boo-doo-doo-doo. So this is exactly what they were doing. They were like, "Boo!" and they like shoot into the woods and like. Poof. And so for like a brief 3 seconds, you see this bright light, and I'm like, "Oh no!" And then I'd look over, and one would also squiggle and like land somewhere else, and then one like shot up over my house and hit my neighbor's ceiling, my neighbor's roof. They were out of town, and they had a security system. So after the fireworks dissipated, what they like dissolved, we were hanging out. You're a parent. You know how your kids do something terrible, but then after that, it's just this like freaking just a ridiculous level of calm, right? You do something terrible, and then you're just like, I've got it out of my system. So that's us. Like at the fire, we're just like, just listen to music on a Bluetooth speaker. And then Brandon Poole comes around to the backyard and he's like, why are there 3 cop cars outside? Why are there 3 cop cars up front? And I'm like, dude, no, stop joking, stop playing. It's like, there are 3 cop cars outside. And we go around front, and they were just inspecting around our neighbors. And we were like, hey, let's all just sit around the fire. Like
and for some reason, like,
real
even
calm.
though-
Somebody get that acoustic guitar and start playing Kumbaya right now. Let's go.
Even if I'm not guilty of anything, whenever I see cops, I'm like, run.
That's a thing only you could do.
Yeah, you're right. Because we did that too. Remember downtown?
Yeah, yo,
you got
we were
stopped by
downtown.
cops, and the cop's like, why is he running?
That's a couple years ago. You're like 15.
Yeah.
And like I was like, PD, what's it? I'm like, even if we were innocent, we don't look it now.
Hey, I was
Right.
ahead of the curve on running from the police.
That's privilege, PD.
Yeah.
You don't even know that.
Oh, can I get on the ground and renounce my white privilege like
Yeah.
the people were doing in,
Yeah,
in that park?
for sure.
Did you see that?
Absolutely. You need to wear the kente cloth.
Oh, yeah. Like
I was
about
Nancy
to ask.
Pelosi.
Yeah. I can't tell if we're being racially insensitive or not, but I'm black, so I don't know if that means we're all exempt from it.
Right.
Anyway.
I don't know.
We'll deal with this one in post. When it's
What are
posted.
the first episode that's like 8 minutes.
Oh man, Ken, when you and I talk, just like PD and I, and there are a ton of other people, my father-in-law. Every time we talk, it's a podcast. It's a doesn't matter if it's a phone call. It's hey, let's meet. Can I pick up something? Can I drop something off? It's hours of talking for a long time about everything, and I'm like, dang, we should have recorded this.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we're doing today. So, I feel like you and I, we had lunch last week, and we met together like yesterday. We talked a ton. So, maybe some of that will pour over here, or we'll just start new conversations. But you got church stories,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
and that's the name of the show. What are some church stories you want to talk about?
Well, you mentioned one the other day that was something I said when we came home on furlough. As a missionary, we come home and we want to see our families and all that, but we weren't part of a mission organization. We financed ourselves, which meant that we had to hit up everybody for cash while we were here.
Mhm.
And in a church environment, you got to go in and you got to sink the hook straight
Oh,
out
yeah.
of the box to get everybody's attention. And so I was doing a presentation and Shama was there. And
where was this at the same church we went
yeah,
to? Okay, yeah.
And
yes.
started off my presentation with December 14th, 2010. A man named Jorge Haralin stabbed me in the chest. And then I followed it up with, of course, he was my surgeon and he was doing open heart surgery on me. And I had given him permission to do that.
That's a good
Setup.
bit. That's like a
Freaking setup of
quality
the year.
open mic opener. Like
right.
you gotta
Solid
go.
opener, man. Dang it.
And I could see it as the realization that I had confessed he was actually a surgeon started kind of filtering through the crowd.
Yeah.
Because everybody was on the edge of their seat. And then they were like,
He
"Oh,
got
yeah."
stabbed in the chest.
So in a way, it backfired because basically I led off with what could be conceived as a lie.
I would have laughed. Did people not
I'm not
laugh?
giving you anything.
did nobody laugh at that?
I think they wanted to afterwards, but the time had passed because when nobody's going to laugh at somebody getting stabbed in the chest.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
well, I guess
Just
there's
one dude.
Well,
It's
that's
just
right.
one dude in the back.
You gotta say it and then just let them catch up on their own speed.
Right.
And then whenever you feel like they've done it, then you move on.
exactly
And then
that.
if they don't get it, you just yell out, comedy. Comedy, people.
I'm going to say this again, and then I'm going to give you guys a chance to
Yeah.
laugh. How about that?
You, thinking about that story, you had a very interesting insight that I don't remember if you mentioned it while you were speaking that day at church, or we were talking about it later, where you had, when you had before you got the surgery, your heart surgery, you had been praying, your family had been praying for a long time that God would heal you, so
Right.
you wouldn't need it. And I'm gonna let you tell it, but you had resolved in your heart Whoa, Church Stories podcast. Sorry, but you'd
True stories in the morning.
True stories.
Wow.
I'm sorry, Chaplain Ken. But go ahead. Do you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. There wasn't anybody out there that believed more than me. And I still believe that God heals. He can heal. He has the capacity. I understand now that it needs to work within the confines of the will he has for each individual and us as a collective. But I believed he was going to heal me. And so the day came. There were several tragic experiences in that. You recognize that when you're having major surgery that they shave you.
Yeah.
This girl came in, bless her heart, this Paraguayan nurse. Oh, by the way, I had my open heart surgery in South America. Discounts, y'all.
You had that South American insurance.
Right.
Cash.
No, she walked in, and you can see I've got a big beard, and my arms kind of hairy and that sort of thing. She walked in with a single one-blade Bic disposable razor.
Yikes.
You could see my chest from space. It was so red from razor burn. She ended up bringing an entire box in.
Oh,
to
really?
Shave my chest. I'm like, why did
Cracking them. And,
no one mentioned this? I could have done this myself at home, maybe in the shower with some soap. She was shaving my chest dry.
Dude. Oh.
And so essentially it was like being dragged across asphalt.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyhow, they came in to pick me up to go to surgery. Brought in a gurney, had me lay up on it. My wife's there, and I looked over and I went, I guess I'll see you in a little bit. We didn't pray with each other. I didn't tell her I love you or tell her to pass on any message to the kids or anything like that, because I believed they were going to check one more time.
Yeah.
As those stories go, and go, wait a minute.
I was going to just...
Yeah, there it is.
Miraculously. Yeah.
And I got in there, and they transferred me over to the operating table. And the way that works for open heart surgery, they have to get your arms out of the way. So they bring one arm over and tie it down, and then the other, and it's tied down. And I'm really not intending to make that cross symbol, but since it's a church show,
Yeah. Fits the theme.
right. And so I'm starting to get a tad nervous, because they're not double checking me.
So it's like setting in that this is really going to happen.
Yeah.
And so then they put in the IVs, and they put a mask over my nose and told me to breathe through my nose and count backwards. And I went 99, 98, and I started to get drowsy, and I went, oh my God, they're going to cut. And that was the last thing.
Man.
I didn't pray again. I didn't, faced with the fact that I'm having open heart surgery, I could have died. Why not do the old salvation prayer one last time just to make sure? Hey God, just in case I missed something.
That's why old people read the Bible a lot. They're studying for finals.
Right.
But an original bit.
I had
I
no.
don't know.
That sounded like...
It's like an internet joke.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know. Ask old people.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but I had no idea they were going to do surgery on me. Which is just goes to prove how ignorant I am. I'm in an operating room. I'm the only guy there without a mask on.
I wish I had that level of confidence for anything.
Yeah.
And I believed it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't mine. That thing, that healing, that wasn't what God wanted to do for me in that way at that time. He's taught me so much more on the other side of that in different ways, but I had no idea that was coming. And the last thing I remember before going under was I was completely horrified. I literally said in my head, I don't know if I said it out loud or not because I was already starting to get kind of stumbly,
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, they're going to cut. And I was trying to say they're going to cut me open. And that was it. Just done.
So in a way, you're still a man of faith, but you had faith that almost like swallowed up any fear that you had of the surgery, thinking that God was going to come through before the surgery.
Right.
And then
But
the
God
last
coming
moment,
through, you didn't realize that the God coming through is the cutting my chest open.
Exactly that.
Yeah. Oh man.
You know, what it did was I had a faith, but it wasn't based in in who God is.
Yeah.
The faith that I've come to realize I should have is based in a immersive relationship with God. Because if that's the case, then I could have looked at that opportunity of surgery as from the same perspective that Paul had. If I die, it's a gain, and if I don't, then I'm still going to shout him when I wake up. Instead, I was really more kind of checking off boxes. I kind of liken it to Mad Libs. Faith, the way I saw faith back then is if I check enough of the right boxes, put the words in the right order, I come up with something that's kind of cool. Sounds funny if you read it, but
Get the to-do list
Right,
done for the day.
Man.
and
I think there is a I love stories of when God comes through for people. There's something about TBN. As a person, I was on a show sponsored, produced by TBN. TBN's made $1 billion industry out of a show called Praise the Lord, where people just go on and talk about miracles and healings, and I was raised from the dead, and I was all these things. But I'm like, what you don't hear enough of was, hey, Pastor Matt Chandler, who we've been talking a lot about, who had brain cancer at a time when he said he was like the healthiest he's ever been.
right.
And I'm like, oh, what you don't hear is I lost my dad to cancer, in essentially like the prime of his ministry. So when people are like, God, believe God can do anything. God is a healer, and I'm like, yeah, yes, and sometimes not, not so much.
I would just like
but
to
he's still
say,
faithful.
have either of you attended the Supernatural Ministry School in Florida? No?
Yeah, Ken, maybe
Have
see,
you
that's
heard
what I'm
of
saying.
that?
The fact that
That
it's called the
seems familiar.
Supernatural Ministry School is almost like, hey, we're tapping into something deeper down here in
I was
Florida.
just looking into them because I heard about it, and I was like, oh, this has to be a load of crap. So I
I love it when you enter into something with an open mind.
I feel like we're gonna get an email to be like, hey, I just graduated online from the International School
But
of
then
Supernatural.
I was just looking at their.
Wouldn't you have gotten that email last week?
I saw that like Benny. I saw that.
Oh shoot!
I was on their schedule, and like they get some big names. Like Benny Hinn did a guest set down there.
Benny is like, hey, I'll be doing September 8th, 9th, and 10th. I'll be doing Catch Me Live.
Have the jackets ready.
Exactly that.
And then after that, we're going to be shooting up to Milwaukee, where
Yeah.
I'll be flinging my coat around.
Yeah, he's like, I gotta-
December 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Merry Christmas to everybody else.
I gotta do some club sets to get ready for the album.
I just need to know what kind of money those guys that catch people make.
Yeah.
I could be a catcher.
Dude, this is funny. My brother used to be... Oh, sorry. The show's got snacks now, guys. So if you see somebody eating or hear
dude,
it...
stay away from that microphone because
I know. We ate in one episode, and we got like 3 stars for... sorry.
Well, we
guys.
got a 4-star review. They're like, great podcast, but Shauna 8 on this episode.
Was this a separate episode?
Yeah, and also if you're gonna leave a review, just leave 5 stars. And if you're gonna leave a review, please leave a note.
Yeah.
And if it's a bad review, please leave a note. We want to know.
We want to know why. Just don't
Yeah.
be like, bad. Like, that doesn't help any. Your name's bad, and the description is bad,
Because-
and the subject too. That doesn't help us.
We've got like majority 5 stars. Maybe like this little tiny bit that's not, but you can see there's like a little bit in all the lower ones, and I want to know what their reasoning was.
They don't say.
Yeah.
Dude, my brother, my parents were huge TBN fans. Hey, my dad didn't get to see me on TBN because he passed away. But my dad used to always make us watch, like, they would just keep the TV on TBN in the mornings while we were getting ready to go to school. And Benny Hinn was always on in the mornings.
Yeah, some ambient Jesus.
Ambient Jesus. That's gonna be my coffee shop. Ambient Jesus.
Dude, so Benny Hinn always does that thing, and each episode. This is his essentially like his podcast, not his show. He sits on a chair with somebody else. This is a studio set, and he'll look into the camera and be like, "I see somebody wearing a a striped shirt. God is healing your leg right now. God is healing you. God is healing you. Watch somebody be really healed while me saying that. But anyways, my brother, Phil, shout out to Phil. We got to get him on the show. Phil's listening to this right now. Phil, love you, man. Thanks for listening.
What's up, Phil?
You got to come to the show. Phil swears to God that Benny Hinn was talking to him. And I was like, Phil, what did he say? He was like, I'm talking to a person wearing a white T-shirt, and your shoulder hurts. And I'm like, Phil, it's like America's got like 350 million, the world's got like 7 billion people, and it's TVN's everywhere. Like, he was bound to be talking to several people in white shirts, who have pain in their shoulder. And I'm like, that's just I don't know. Maybe it was real. I'm not discrediting Benny Hinn who he is. I am a man of faith, and I believe that God heals and can do all things. But in that instance, I'm like, hey, let's be honest.
This reminds me of a tweet from Jose Canseco. Do you know who that is?
Absolutely.
Yeah, baseball player.
Oh, sorry, I did not know. Sports.
Yeah, well, yeah, he got busted for steroids, but he's very active on Twitter.
Who would have thought?
And
he was big as a house.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
The Lonely Island
got a twin brother
about
too.
it. You should check it out.
Yeah. They did like a short thing too, right?
Yeah.
Netflix thing.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, he had a tweet, and it was our system, ARE, our corrupt system needs a supernatural force to take it down or something.
Ken, you're a writer. Why does why do I'm gonna say it wrong. Why do grammar errors just immediately discredit? Like, it doesn't matter what kind of point you were making. You got a typo, you suck. All right, that's your point is invalid.
Right,
and you're canceled as a human being.
Well, I mean, let's look at the technological world we live in.
Yeah,
we have the entire universe at the tip of our hands with a smartphone.
Yeah. And the phone corrects most of your misspellings for you. So,
and at the end of the day, before you hit send, is it too much trouble? You're talking about a tweet. At that time, the maximum was going to be 140 characters.
Yeah.
Is that too much to reread?
Yeah.
Yes.
What is it bumped up to now? What's the character limit? 240?
Yeah, I think it's 240.
So
ridiculous.
We don't need Twitter to be verbose.
Right.
No.
So you can't read that again before you send it. I understand. Whatever voice to text was out there at the time, heard him say "our" with a certain type of accent that came across as "r." Okay, fine.
But then look at it.
Read it before you send it.
But I definitely wouldn't have retweeted it if it said "our."
Right. Well, see, that's an entirely different subject.
Yeah.
Ken used to have a blog called Rambling Barba.
Right.
Which means rambling beard.
Right.
Barba is beard in Spanish.
And you have a beard.
And you
I
have
do.
a beard. And you ramble.
So it all checks out. So you got a beard and you ramble. What's up?
So you got a beard and you ramble. Welcome to the PD and Shama Show.
It's not church stories anymore. PD and Shama in the morning. 108.5.
So
The zoo.
no confetti, no balloons, no anything falling with
sorry.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to find out where I'm at with this.
If there's one bit that needs to die on the show, it's when we break out into morning radio DJs.
Maybe you can drop that and pick up random bathroom calls.
Yeah. We need to switch out bits. You had some of. I loved all your blog posts. Most of them, I didn't really read all of them, but I loved them. All right. And you had several satire posts called, you had a company, air quotes, called Jesus Junk International.
Exactly.
And from that, you had great hits like the church card. I
Right.
think that's what it's called. Which is, and I'm kind of spoiling them because we're going to make some videos out of some of these too.
Oh, really? We got the rights?
We got the rights. We got the rights to Jesus Junk International.
I was just about to say that we should make memes out of those, but then videos would be better.
Yeah. I really want to make some videos.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this, don't go look it up.
Do not go look it up. If you make it, we're going to chase you down. There's that. There's also the Jesus jacket, which you can, it's the easy way for you to...
Right, you got to put that on. That's essentially, it's like camouflage for a church environment. You put on the Jesus jacket and people will view you with more respect for your Christian walk.
Okay.
And then you also had the... what is it? The Amen. Tell me about that. You were just talking about this.
Oh, yeah. The post-church Sunday Amen. Christians love to say Amen instead of yes on Sunday afternoons.
Yeah.
No other day of the week do you answer a yes or no question with Amen. You go to a
Right.
restaurant and the waitress comes by and she asks if you'd like some more tea. Well, amen.
yeah.
Some more rolls. Amen.
If somebody says something I agree with, I say amen.
Yeah.
But not just a yes or no.
It's transcending.
Well,
Well,
that's
Sunday.
You do have a holy air about you, so
Thank
that
you.
might be
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
It comes
Hey,
through on
don't
the
forget
podcast.
a classic like hitman for Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Or one of my favorites was the Sunday lunch sniper. When the pastor's dragging on past 12. Yeah. Now I did take the high road on that, and you were shooting the pastor with a dart, not a
okay.
an
Yeah,
actual
yeah.
projectile.
I was about to say.
What?
So you
Like-
put him to sleep, because otherwise, then you have to have a committee to hire a new guy.
Yeah.
Yes, I
that's
get
the
tied
only,
up.
that's
It's a
the
whole
only
thing.
problem with that.
Right. And you get these guys that come in, and you let this applicant or candidate test preach a sermon.
that's always
Yeah,
terrible.
so you just get like elephant tranquillizer or something,
Yeah,
and
pretty
shoot
much.
it at them.
You can tell we're from the South since he went with elephant tranquilizer.
Let's go straight for the hardest verse.
Right, exactly. We want to put that guy to sleep, and he's a little on the Pentecostal side of
if you're in a
buffet.
Pentecostal or Baptist church, gotta go with the elephant tranquilizer.
Oh man.
Look, if you're in a Lutheran church, maybe a tiger. I don't know.
A
They
tiger.
They
I
have
don't
different
know.
kind of. Is there a market for that?
Hey, I maybe. I feel like there's somebody who's like, these guys don't even know about they don't even know their tranquilizers.
Next week we'll have the tranquilizer expert on to bore everybody
Oh,
for
yeah.
an hour.
Whole hour, guys. Stand
Yeah.
by.
You don't come here for tranquilizer advice. You come here
Yeah.
to
Tranquilizer
figure out how to shoot your pastor when he goes
Yeah,
too long
yeah.
on a Sunday, and we've covered that. So.
Oh man.
Maybe
Yeah,
a pellet gun
we'll link the
or a rubber bullet. Sorry.
2 cent.
Two cents. Oh.
He didn't even, you are. I mean, at this point, you're not even digging yourself in the hole. You're just constantly shoveling dirt back onto yourself.
At this
I don't
point,
know how you're in
yeah.
it. The hole's so deep. I don't know how you're reaching for the. You got go.
Would you
gadget
say
arms.
we get that? Yeah.
All right, moving right along.
Should we cut that one out? Probably.
Hey, dude, no, we can't. Like, I'm the editor.
you want me to
No.
get canceled?
No,
Okay.
you're good. You're good. Ken, first and foremost, I'm going to talk about a deleted script. What usually those don't see the light of day anywhere, but PD and I were talking about creating a video about short-term missions, which really was spawned by you and a lot of stories that you've said about what short-term missions, the bad side of short-term missions.
That's basically what you're doing is setting up where blame should fall.
Ken, the next segment, if anybody blames us, they're gonna blame you directly.
All the angry comments directing them at Ken.
At Ken. Just blast his blog, do all that. No, but essentially, so we conversed with some people, say some advisors of the pod, and we were like, hey, maybe we won't do a like a 5-minute takedown on short-term missions, because like I've as a former missionary kid, which doesn't have the same gravitas as a former missionary on the field. I loved when mission teams came over, but there's also it's a very
I guess the problem is when you're attacking something that your fans have definitely participated in. You're just asking for paragraphs.
Yeah. Yes. But okay. But that's why I wanted to talk about. That's what I'm saying is that we're not going to make the video that we wanted to make.
Right.
But Ken, as a former missionary, you have a story that I reference a lot, which was like the basis for this. Was I don't know if you're willing to tell it, but an experience that you had with a guy who managed mission teams down in South America. Can you get into that, or you not?
We just talked about this the other day.
Yeah.
His job for 18 months was to drive to the airport on a Saturday morning and drop off one team and pick up the next one that landed that afternoon. And they had a warehouse of paint. They painted the same houses, the same church buildings, week after week after week.
Week after week.
And he said the only thing that was a saving grace for them was hopefully it rained before it dried completely, so the paint would look kind of bad for the next team that came along. They said, a lot of times they come in, they're painting a house that hadn't even a bug hasn't landed on since it was last had a coat of paint on it.
Wow.
And it's one of those things, and I understand that there are positives on both sides of short-term missions. We've talked about so many times, though, you and I have, that if you do the math, and I know people, I've seen it happen where they have short-term team come in, and it's incredibly beneficial to the ministry and to the group, to the people in the area and that sort of thing. But at the same time, there are those short-term mission mills, essentially, where you really aren't accomplishing anything. This same person shared stories that leadership would come in and say, I hear we may get a chance to rescue a baby from the dump.
Really?
How do you know in advance that somebody has finally gotten to the point where they can't feed their child, and so they're going to go abandon this infant at the dump?
A mission trip leader? Like a short-term mission trip leader?
No, this was leadership at the ministry that was there.
Really?
That stuff happens. I know that
Gosh, man.
these same folks have since moved on, and they run a ministry that's children's homes.
Yeah.
They have children in their homes that are abandoned in that way, at dumps, at the bus station, whatever. That's who's living there, or kids that have been separated from their family for whatever legal reason. But how do you know in advance?
Yeah.
It looks like tomorrow at 2:15, we're going to find a baby at this particular trash dump.
Well, that's the...
And we got there just as they walked away.
I'm gonna credit something else to you, Ken. You could take it as I say it as credit, but when I worked for a church as a youth pastor, I was, how do I want to say this? There was some butting of heads that happened, and you told me something that essentially saved my life, and put me on the trajectory that led to now, to where I'm at now, where you looked at me bluntly, and you kind of said it regretfully, like you didn't want to tell me, and you still apologized for saying it, but you were like, "Hey, look, you can either be a company man, or not."
Yeah.
And a company man is in the same way of
Yeah, that's an
you
old
wanna
school
play,
saying
wanna be a
from
mission
the
trip? It's
30s
like-
and 40s, or even earlier. I think it comes from coal mines, especially. Tennessee Ernie Ford, and you load 16 tons, and what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt.
No.
Classic song, great lyrics, but that's where that term comes from, because the company men, the ones that belonged to the corporate entity, were basically plants in the community. They were making money. They were doing okay. It's the other folks who were working, slaving in the mines, dying of the black lung and whatever else, and trying to provide for their families. That was I don't know. It was a derogatory comment to be called a company man if you weren't.
Yeah.
If you were, you didn't care because you were getting a check. But if you weren't, it kind of stung. But what I was talking about there is, you can. There's another old saying: you got to go along to get along. All right, and if you can ignore certain things that God has put a check in your spirit about, in your heart, you can look at something and know it's not right, but you go along with it anyway because you're doing this thing, and you may be accomplishing a lot in that ministry environment that's there, but at what cost? Paul said that spoke about gaining the whole world and losing your soul. So in that, you might be doing a good work here, but what could you be doing if you were fully and completely released to God's idea for what He has for your life?
Right.
I can tell you a story. I was in Paraguay. We were in recovery. About I don't know, what was it? Maybe 6 weeks after I got out of the hospital with my open heart surgery, and which, by the way, there's no aftercare in Paraguay for open heart
So
surgery.
it's like a bus ticket.
Right. I got to where that I could walk the recommended number of steps down the hallway, and then it was just like, hey, thanks for stopping by. Pay the bill on your way out.
Oh my gosh.
And
Sorry about your chest.
yeah,
Like, what?
they actually said, and I quote in English, "You probably should make an appointment with the cardiologist."
Probably.
Probably.
As in, like, I don't know. I don't know. Heard he's
Right,
a cool
right.
guy. Check him out. I don't know. Look into it.
So we're at home. About 6 weeks later, my wife got hit by a car. Like, she was on the back of a motorcycle going to a language class, and the only two vehicles within about 6 to 8 miles in this very secluded area, and they were about 50 yards off the road.
Dang.
This guy lost control, went off the road and hit them, shattered her femur. So we're there. She's in a wheelchair. I hadn't long had open heart surgery. We were driving this little piece of junk Volkswagen Golf, and the door handle broke on it. I found a door handle, bought it, had to buy it out of country and have it shipped in. I'm out there. I spent about 4 hours tearing that door apart and putting it back together. It was working like a dream. Put the door panel on, so now I can't reach anything. Put it all back together, shut the door. It would not open. And I just picked stuff up and started throwing it across the porch, kicking it, yelling. And I yelled out loud, "God, I don't trust you!" And I heard almost an audible voice that said, "I know."
Dang.
I was like, dang it. He just crushed me.
Yeah.
He just crushed me. God, I don't trust you. You know, I was so frustrated with so many other things that were happening in life. And that door handle, it just pushed me over the edge, and that spilled out of me. And his response was, "I know." He knew before I shouted that. And thinking in those terms, if you remain the company man,
Yeah.
he knows. He's got so much more than just go along to get along.
It's like when the peddler told me to stop wearing Metallica shirts, and I started wearing the peddler shirts, and I sold out. But
I love when PD relates.
Well, that's when I stopped going there, is when you stopped wearing the Metallica shirts.
But, you know, I think especially just having gone to Bible college, just like myself, there are certain things that I put up on Facebook, Twitter a while back. This is last year before I was dead. I was like, parenting is like the Illuminati. The further you get, the more they tell you. And somebody wrote a great tag. It was a comment. Somebody commented, "And the more you have to spend." And I was like, dang, that's a great tag. So I wish that was mine.
yeah,
But I think the same thing with ministry and as being as a creative as well. There are, as you rise in certain levels, the more somebody as it like thunders outside, the more they tell. You know what I mean? As you kind of get, it's like nobody just lays out, "Hey, it's going to be A, B, C, and D." You know what I mean? And then a couple of years later, you're going to make this decision. Then you're going to do this, and you're going to get married. You're going to buy a house. You can have great credit. You're going to build this. You're going to buy 2 cars. You're going to buy a minivan. You know what I mean? It's like you learn all these things like as you go, right? And where I was, as a young minister, right at a Bible college, ready to conquer the world and lead the biggest youth ministry in America, right here in Greenville, South Carolina. For you to look at me and go, "Hey, you know, you can do this one of 2 ways, right? You can do this and be, you know, happy and satisfied and go along with it, or, you know, you could kind of be here and be frustrated and
was that the
get
most
along."
frustrated you had been?
Oh, it was. I mean, it was extremely frustrating, man. It was extremely. I mean, I would. At a point where, I mean, I was even suicidal. I'm not gonna lie. I was very. I mean, I went to Bible school for 4 years. You know,
just
to
started
be
raining
in
now.
ministry. Yeah, I know. To be in ministry, and all of a sudden, like, I found out that I don't cut it in ministry. right? And I was
The
let
question,
go,
though, is
slash-
what is your definition of ministry?
And that's, I mean, and that's the, you know, the end of the rainbow, I guess you could say, in my story in particular, was my idea of ministry. As I think about this all the time, like what was my end goal? Was, man, to be a youth pastor, the dude thing, and get married, buy a house, have 2 kids.
Yep.
And get a minivan and lead kids to freaking. We go to the beach for a winter retreat. We
Should
go
have
to the
gotten
mountains
married
for a
before
thing.
you were a youth pastor because that builds your like church cred.
Yeah, your church cred.
Exactly.
You get like more buttons on your Jesus jacket.
Because you can't trust single guys.
No. I mean, because no married guys make any kind of mistakes.
Yeah.
That's where
Exactly.
the good comes up. So yeah, for me, you know, for you to tell me, hey, you know, maybe, you know, you could do this one of 2 ways, and then me going like, oh, I need to do this way, and then making that decision, and you watching me, you know, make that decision,
Right.
And then me coming back to you like, I made that decision, kid. Come on, help me. And then everybody else, you know, their people were telling me like, hey, I guess you just got to apply to more churches, work more churches.
Right.
Dude,
You got to
Got to
work
get
for
me
another
a church gig.
I'll never forget standing next to you during worship. And then I was like, oh, so I was preaching tonight. And you're like, not me. And then they went up and made the announcement.
Oh,
You didn't tell me anything
yeah.
other. You're like, not me. And you walked away.
Yeah. And they were like, hey, we're Shaman's out of here.
Yeah.
But you know what? What God wants, He wants us. He wants that
Man.
relationship. Like I
Hey.
said earlier, he wants that all-in, complete immersion. That brings me to another Matt Chandler quote we were talking about before, and he said, "You can't say that Jesus is your Savior and He's not your Lord." He wants a withness. He won't. There are so many things. He said you can't live for Jesus and not with Him.
Right.
And that for Jesus is all these things that we do, that ministry that you're doing. If you're not with Him in the midst of doing it, then what's the point?
Yeah.
He expects us to bring whatever we got, whatever we have, bring it to the table. You know, we did some dumb stuff when I was young, and I suspect that if God allows me to live any number of days from this point forward, I am probably going to do some more dumb stuff.
Probably.
Really?
Yeah. I probably have done some of that during this recording.
PD for sure.
that's-
Every time we press record, he's like, what else?
But
How can we get canceled today?
it reminds me years ago, man. I mean, this is probably 25 or so years ago. We were testifying or witnessing to this guy. It was a friend of ours, trying to whatever. Then we pulled the trigger and invited him to church. And he says, I don't really believe in organized religion. And my wife says, you'll love our church. We never start on time and you never know who's going to sing. We're completely disorganized.
That's a good bit.
And, like, this is for you.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Brought what was on the table, man.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah. Nobody
I don't
ever
know.
is a proponent of disorganized religion.
Right.
It's a good
Yeah.
one.
Even us
Yeah.
in it.
Right. Exactly.
Man.
You know, there's a whole group of people out there that could use some leadership. The disorganized religion group.
Who leads the leaders? Dun, dun, dun. But yeah, I think more than anything, what I've talked, when Ken, you and I have talked, and PD and I have talked a lot of times, and there's this gripe and frustration about organized religion and disorganized religion in the church and all these things, and in a way that we're like, oh, things aren't going the right way. They got to do this, and can you believe they're doing this now? But in a way, I think the context that we talk about it, I still believe that there's hope for the church and
Sure.
a church, and I am still a part of a church, and
We're in one.
Hey. Guys, Church Stories is finally in a church. We've been
Yeah.
in everywhere but a church.
Does this mean every story we tell is a church story?
Technically.
It falls
So
under
don't
the
count.
umbrella. Man, that opens up a whole
Yeah,
new
totally.
Oh, yeah.
genre of podcast there.
But yeah, I think the even the gripe and frustrations that we have are aren't critiquing like, oh, they should do this and they should do that. Well, people are like, well, you should get into church and do it. As much as there are some people who are cut out for for the 9 to 5 ministry hustle.
Right.
And there are those of us who aren't. We're salty in a way. But I think about it. I was at filming something, and it was for scrap metals. And the guy who headed the scrap metal company in Toronto, Canada, was from South Africa. And he started off with like one truck, and all, the stories of dudes who are like, I started off with one truck, and now he's like, multimillionaire, freaking trucks everywhere. And they're doing all these things. And he was talking to his employees at like a little cocktail party. And he was like, there's some people who like the merry-go-rounds, but there's some of us, he was South African accent. He was like, some of us like the roller coaster. And and I was like, dang it, man, that's so inspiring. And you're talking about scrap metal.
Right. It wouldn't have been as inspiring without the accent.
No, it wouldn't have been, no. So I think about it in a way of there are some people who like the merry-go-round of ministry of, hey, we're gonna, it's Sunday morning, oh yeah, welcome back, take up offering, let's go to Mexican, whatever. Right. And then there's us where you're like, hey, you can be a coming man or not. And I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to allow them to fire me. Right. And, cut to, what was that, 2016? And that's, it's 2020 now. 4 years later, we're sitting here, a podcast called Church Stories that is doing, insanely well. So it's like we ended up, I ended up in a cooler spot than I would have anticipated.
Yeah. And if you were still there, this probably would all be monitored, wouldn't it?
I mean, it could have been. I could have ended up doing a Christian podcast, or I could have ended up a drug addict. And either way, Ken would be to thank.
I'm willing to take the blame for your success, but I draw the line there.
Yeah. But hey, I knew we were gonna get a little sappy, and also a little serious and a little funny in this episode.
Welcome back to Sappy and Serious with your host Shama.
Sappy and Serious, guys. You already know we are Sappy and Serious in the morning.
Sappy and Serious with Shama. The 3 S's. Triple S.
Morning. Oh, I'm sorry. Ken, do you have any other church stories? Anything you want to talk about?
Man, I've told you time
and too many podcasts already that we haven't recorded. You and I.
I've told you time and again. I can just chatter on and on.
Yeah,
hours at a time.
Yeah.
I've got nothing else to do. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
All I have is church stories. It seems like.
Yeah.
The first place I went after I was born, came home from the hospital. The first time I left my house at about 2 to 3 weeks, we went to a church service.
Yeah.
So, I've got them. I remember back in the day when I was a kid, I'm going to throw this out there because I haven't seen these people in 35, 40 years at least.
I swear they're going to listen to this podcast.
They are. They're going to burn my house down or something. But we used to have a group that would come by and hijack the service. They pulled in. It was a family, but they drove a tour bus with their name on the side of it. And they were called the Singing Wiggins family. And their children's names were Lonnie, Donnie, Vonnie, Johnny, Bonnie, Connie.
Shut up.
And Carol.
Shut up.
See, I can't make that up.
Lonnie,
the black
Donnie,
sheep of the
Connie,
family, Carol.
Vonnie, Bonnie, and Carol.
Jeez. You remembered. This is
oh yeah. It made an impression. It definitely did.
Yeah.
But they would come in, and at some point the dad would stand up and testify, and that led to a couple of songs, and then they'd take up an offering for themselves, do 2 more, call it a night.
Really?
They would walk in, they got a mandolin, upright bass. You know something's going on if from out of nowhere, the pastor, he has no idea this is about to happen. He looks up and someone is walking in with a 6-foot tall upright bass.
Yeah, you're like, wait a second.
And I'm like, I've got a cello I could have brought. Somebody should have told me. I didn't know it was like that.
Guys.
No one is saying no to that person.
Accordion. They had an accordion too. They had an upright bass.
Who played the accordion? Was it a Donnie, Lonnie, Bonnie, Sonny, Connie?
Yeah. I think they were
Ronnie
all kind of, everybody could play everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, that was, like I said, that was years ago. I got church stories.
Wait a second. Let me ask you this: how much love offering were they clearing to rent a truck with their name? Rent a
Love offer.
Oh, I think they bought
seriously,
it. This
though.
was one of those old Sunbeam style, like rounded, looked like a
Oh,
giant
yeah, yeah.
Tylenol tour buses. It was just an old piece of junk then.
Yeah.
Now it's cool
right.
because it's retro or
That's
whatever.
what we need to do, man. We gotta hit this show's got to hit the road,
Yeah.
guys.
And go where?
Let's hit the road.
Do you need somebody to drive so that you can sit in the back?
Hey, legit. Ken, let's hit the road.
We could rent a
PD
U-Haul.
and I, listen, people, y'all gotta stop using the T word, and that's tour with us. PD and I are homebodies. We're not doing 3 cities over a weekend, no.
Right.
We're gonna
Unless
do-
the money's right. But
Hey, I mean, and even then, I'd be like, oh yikes. I've taken jobs where I'm like, hey, the money's good, and then I wake up and I'm like, this could have been a home day.
Yeah. I like my house.
Yeah.
I like being there.
Could have been a home day.
No, but yeah, man, that's a heritage for me. Church stories.
Yeah.
Just from way back. Me and a friend and my sister used to take turns standing on a chair downstairs and preaching. He would preach, and then my sister would fall out, and I would catch her. And then I think I was the oldest, and I was 6. So
then
we
you
were
would
starting it
preach.
early.
Would y'all
Right.
exchange roles, and you'd preach, and then
Now,
your
we were
sister would
progressive.
catch
We
the-
let my sister preach a few times.
Hold on.
Now, this was in
Hold.
77.
Ken, what year was this?
1976, 77, 78. So we had a female pastor. Now, she was 3 years old.
Hey,
So there's that.
Hey, let the little children come unto me, for thus is the kingdom of. Thus is you know the. Come on,
Right,
you know
right.
the
yeah,
verse.
they
Church
forgot.
stories.
They forgot to write in the air horn in the Bible.
Ken, I wanted you to talk about another thing that I've already forgotten about. But you know what? This is your guestship on the show is not over.
Yeah, well,
Your family now. We end the show with praise reports. You know the deal. PD, do you have a praise report? Ken, do you have y'all think about praise reports?
yeah, I can start.
Wing
You want to do
something.
the song?
Hold on just a second. You mean
Well,
all of us were just kind of like, all right, well, I guess this
Yep.
sound drop
That's
is
like it.
going to
That's
play
gonna-
now.
Who's going to play us out?
I was expecting the NBA. It's like when you take a drink out of something that's not the right
Yeah,
drink. We were
yeah.
just talking about that.
I thought you were just doing an ad lib there.
No, but
Hold on. So if we're going to praise reports, I got to say one thing. I don't know, Ken. I was at a state conference up in Spartanburg, the church that we used to be at, and oh shoot, I hope it doesn't get bad to them. But
Who cares?
this lady, this Asian lady, was singing a song, and she had a very thick accent. And I have not talked about. Have I talked about this on the show?
I've heard it. But
Ken,
I
were
don't
you there?
think
Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, hold on. She was singing on stage.
I
since,
was
you know,
there too.
You were?
Yeah.
Were you? You were with us?
Yeah.
Okay. So she was singing on stage, and she was singing the Revelation song. Holy, holy, holy. God,
Right.
This is the Lord God Almighty. But because of her accent, she was singing, holy, holy, holy is thou Lord God. And God, hey, her heart was in the right place, all right?
And
her
you
heart
were
was in the
worried
right
about
place.
me getting us canceled?
PD, I'm saying a
Boo.
I am reenacting a. Anyways, I laughed so hard I hid under a table. I was in the back. I laughed so hard I was on all fours, and I'm like, I need to hide. This is how hard I'm
I
laughing.
mean, it was really funny, but as the the white speaker for the Asian Americans Against Shama organization.
Oh, I forgot the represented right now. Sorry, I just
Play the NBA playoffs, and then I'll do.
this is that kind of praise report.
Yeah. The owners of the NFL are planning to go through with the season despite the pandemic and everything that's happening. And I'm for once I applaud their greed because I really don't want to be deprived of football.
Oh, God bless you. That's where I feel like everybody's so conflicted, because everybody's like, oh man, well, yeah, everything's really bad, and I heard they're opening up some restaurants. I'm glad they're opening up some restaurants. Hopefully,
Yeah.
So it's like a well.
I was
just
dying
be
for-
safe. I hope that everybody's
Yeah.
I hope everybody's wearing a mask.
I was ready to break into TR's Oriental to get something.
Guys, if TR's Oriental is ever looted,
Hey, don't put that on me.
Oh,
That
yeah.
might
Oh,
happen.
no, listen. if it's ever, y'all don't go too far. Just hit up PD's address, and arrest the boy. Go around
TR's
back.
Oriental.
Mr. Bachman, we found you with 18 cases of fortune cookies.
There's rice on the floor.
I have
Fortune
been
cookie wrappers everywhere.
I've been saving those from my visits, and
okay. I guess that's
You're
that's
like,
possible.
It checks out. You're like, you got receipts? No, I got. You can look it through my bank. It's literally just,
Right.
just TR's Oriental Plus.
yes,
I
I have their streaming service, TR's Oriental Plus.
It's just fried rice and a wok over and over. You're like, hey, did
Yeah.
they play anything else?
It's just
You're like, no, it's just a live stream of the wok.
It's a live stream of them in the kitchen.
yeah, just a big old wok
Ooh,
with
what are they gonna
flames.
make today?
The same thing,
Yeah.
but you're just as excited every time.
Oh yeah,
Ken, you had a praise report?
I do, man. I'm telling you that recent events have caused me to really reassess, and that I'm just excited about being in a relationship with God. I'm understanding that it's not that Jesus jacket. It's not all these things we do for him, like we were talking about before. It really is just being in a relationship with him. Those for him things come out of that with him relationship. It's the free time that I have had recently has given me the chance to really dig in a little more, and I've jumped back into to the whole higher education situation. I'm enrolled in Greenville Tech. I'm doing some classes right now. I've got about 13 years in a 2-year degree. But in my defense, I did leave the country. So the commute was just too much for me during that time.
Yeah,
But,
couldn't make it in the mornings.
Wait, exactly. But no, I'm kind of excited about that. I don't know what it is. It's kind of cool to do something that literally makes me feel stupid every time I do it, and keep coming back for more.
You're like, dang it! All right, now I'll wake up another day, do it again.
Right, exactly that. But yeah, man, it's cool. It's cool that it doesn't have to all be roses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's all right.
What is my praise report, man?
You're not a company man.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's my praise report. My praise report is you, Ken. This is the first time my praise report has been a guest, but yeah, I'm very thankful for people who are willing to speak truth to somebody else.
Or people who are just willing to come on the podcast in general. Or-
in general.
There is that.
But yeah, I mean, speak truth to somebody 4 years ago, like me, where I was at. And it's cool it's always really cool to sit across from each other, time later. It's not like 70 years and be like, we remember those old times, and you were on your dad preaching, and you were cooking steaks, and I was like, yeah, we'll do this. But yeah, I mean, it's really cool, man. So I'm really thankful for you and the friendship to go from hey, you can get fired, you need to be okay with that or not.
And then come
to
back
now.
next week where Ken will be on a segment where it's going to be an hour, maybe 2 hours long. Maybe we'll stretch it like the Jordan doc. But we're going to talk about in depth what happened.
In depth,
when,
what
for
happened.
Shama's 3 months of youth ministry. Or how many months was it?
I don't know, man. I think it was like November to freaking May. I think I got fired in May,
Okay.
and then I served a very famous minister named Papa John Schneider. I served in his ministry for about
Yeah. I made
for about
Papa
5
proud
months.
too
You did?
for like 4 months.
Hey, great leader. I mean, before all the
Hey,
a
listen.
couple years
Listen,
ago.
the day of reckoning is coming. Shama.
Did you ever see that video of John Schneider talking about the day of reckoning?
No,
There's
I
this-
didn't.
Oh, well, that's something you
Iconic
have to look
interview.
into.
Okay.
where he's like he's sweaty and greasy, and he's doing this like TV
He was
interview.
just damp.
just so wet, like
It
it's
was
so
like
interview.
it was like he got in the shower with his clothes on and then did an interview.
and then just got in the shower, hopped out, put clothes on, rubbed
didn't
baby
dry
oil
off,
on him, and then
rubbed
just
some
was
bacon
like,
grease on his forehead, and then just
and he's talking to the interviewer, and he's like, talking about how he got let go from his company or whatever, and he's like, I can't. Oh, he was talking about the guy that they hired in place of him. He's like, he's got zero pizza experience.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
hey, can you do the NBA?
Yeah.
I've eaten 30 pizzas in 40 days. That's something he actually said in the
That's
interview.
something he said. But then
He
he said,
later
I've eaten
clarified. He was on the H3H3 podcast. For some reason, he agreed to go on that, and he said that he would just eat like 1 or 2 slices of the pizza.
But either way,
he didn't eat the whole pizza.
When you say 40 pizzas in 3 days, people are like, "Oh, you put away a whole 40 pizzas." And hey, that's a new diet plan. A whole 40.
Yeah, but the thing was, he was getting them from Papa John's, and he was like doing quality testing control.
Right.
Like, but he doesn't work for them.
So this man was just ordering pizza from his local Papa John's.
Yeah, it's like stalking your ex's Instagram.
Exactly.
But then also liking everything and like commenting. That's essentially what it is. Like, hey, what's up?
Commenting the day of reckoning is coming.
Anyways, he said in the interview, he goes, the day of reckoning is coming. The day of reckoning is coming. And the guy was like, what does that mean? And he goes, I'm just saying. So then cut to like, a few months later when the world is in shambles and people were like, all over Twitter, people were like, hey, Papa John tried to warn us.
That's like when
We're
somebody...
like, darn, he did.
It's like when somebody says that they're into flat Earth, and you're like, "Well, explain." They're like, "Look into it." That's the answer that he gave.
Yeah.
Usually that comment is what they use as the segue to in those crime procedural TV shows.
Yeah.
Day of reckoning is coming. That's one of the
segue.
pieces. Yeah, that's one of the pieces of evidence that they use whenever they're prosecuting the guy.
Oh,
But-
man.
Well, Papa, if you're listening, I'm sorry. We love you.
Take it back. Uncurse us, Papa. Papa bless, please.
Get yourself some pizza, man.
Yeah.
Chill.
Papa, we slaved away for you.
Petey, you can't use that word. Guys, wrong. That's the worst. That's the worst drop I've hit today. Oh, God. I don't even feel worthy to touch the board again after playing that. I'm sorry. Ken, thanks so much for coming on the show. We're going to have you back. And as always, starting today, you're the new official chaplain of the Church Stories Podcast. PD, great to have you. Guys,
Great to have me. I'm the co-host of this podcast.
you're the co-host today.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Because I'm canceled. Is that why?
Next week we'll see.
We're both canceled. It's just gonna be another white dude and another black dude next week with no explanation.
The answers to PD and Shaman.
Yeah.
We should do an episode where, man, I'm kind of spoiling it, but we're going to keep this in them, where we just hire a white dude and a black dude and just...
To go by PD and
Shama. And we're like, hey, guys, we're going to
You
hit
need to
record.
mix it too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
You need the black guy needs to answer to the name
All the
PD.
PD.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And we just hit record and go outside.
It's like a bizarro world.
And we don't explain it. And when we come back and people are like, hey, what happened? What's up with episode 207? We're like, huh? What do you mean? We've always hosted. But guys, this has been Church Stories.
And the day of reckoning is coming.
I was hoping you say that.
Really?
Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Thank you. Ken, thank you.
Sure, my pleasure.
I gotta say thank you into the microphone since this is a podcast. If I thank you off the microphone,
Right.
it's meaningless.
Means nothing.